Hi, and welcome to the Higher Education Access Corner. I'm your host, Tiffanie Devan, and I'm excited today to have my guest, Patricia Robinson, here at the Higher Education Access Corner. Trish, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Tiffanie, for asking me. I appreciate that. It's an honor.
Absolutely. And for our listeners, let me give you all a short bio of, I'm calling her Trish, that's what she goes by, for Patricia Robinson. Patricia Robinson is CEO of Evolve Training and Development and founder of Evolve Youth Trades Academy. She's a native of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and earned a bachelor's degree in biblical studies from Lancaster Bible College and an associate's degree in corporate communications from Elizabethtown College. She's an author, professional speaker, and transformational coach. Her mission is to impact and influence positive change. Her mantra, live life on purpose with purpose. Patricia, again, thank you for joining us. And I'm going to pull a little bit more information from you throughout your bio as we get to talk about you. But one of the big things we talk about is career exploration. We talk about affordable access to higher education. And when we're talking about that higher education, we're talking about college and career schools, the business schools, technical schools, trade schools, community colleges, four-year schools, and beyond. So today, one of the big things for you is you're involved heavily in trades, and I think one of the unique things is that you're in a field that you don't see very many women in. So I want to talk a lot more about how you got started, what you think about trades, how you encourage students into the trades, and get into all the nitty-gritty of that. You actually received some awards already. 2018, you were the Woman Making a Difference Award from Pennsylvania Business Central magazine. And you got a certificate of appreciation from the Harrisburg Police Athletic League as well. So kudos to you. Obviously, you're doing some great work around the community. How did you get started with everything?
Wow. Well, I am an educator by nature. So I, at one point, had my own school. Well, actually, I had a daycare. And so I love working with young people. That's just my passion. I didn't know it when I first started, but as I developed my resume in terms of going back to school, and I figured this is the way to go. We need to make sure that we're impacting somebody, and my somebody is the young people. So I had my daycare, and then I decided to go back into the corporate world. That's when I figured out that's not for me. I need to go back into working with young people. And so I was a substitute teacher at the Central Dauphin School District for 8 years. And during that 8-year tenure, I was mainly at the middle school and working with 8th graders. One year, an 8th grader came to me and said, "Miss Robinson, I'm dropping out of school. I'm not even going to go to high school." This young man that I thought that I was influencing and making a difference, because I knew that he had some issues at home, but I was hoping that me being one of the only African American teachers in that district, that it was being impactful. But I wasn't as impactful that I thought I wanted to be. So at that time, I figured there's something else that I need to do to work with students that maybe academics was not their strong point. Perhaps they work well with their hands. And so I just collaborated with someone that knew the skills. Oftentimes people ask me, did you go to school for trades? While I went to Votech, business was my trade. And because we see a lot of black and brown students that either go to college and they don't succeed, or they are out in the streets and they don't know where to go. So trades is a way. I always say trades is not the last option, but the first opportunity, because the narrative has been, oh, if you can't get into a 4-year college, then do trades, as if it's the last option. And so once that student told me he was going to drop out at 8th grade, I knew there was something that I had to do. So I did a pilot program during the summer, and we had 10 students from all demographics, some from the West Shore, some from the East Shore, and it was very successful. And that when I seen the light bulb go off on some of those young people that otherwise would not be interested, and not only that, we had an equal number of females in that class, 5 and 5, that told me that I needed to do something, that I needed to make a change, and that was that change for me.
So that's interesting, because I actually thought you actually were in the trades themselves, because I've seen some of your videos and things like that where it looks like you're in there sleeves rolled up.
Yes.
So I thought that was originally part of how you got started with everything. So Explain, I think now's a good time. I was going to do it a little later, but excuse me, explain about your academy. So it's Evolve Youth Trades Academy. Tell our listeners about the academy, what programs you offer, what grade levels or age groups are involved or can participate in.
Oh, absolutely. We started out with just doing a summer program and after school program, just making sure that we can accommodate students that didn't have anything to do over the summer, but we will provide a safe place and also give them a skill that they can take away. The age group that we work with is 10 through 18. 10 being the factor because that's middle school, or I'm sorry, 12. 12 being a factor that is middle school age. And we really wanted to impact those young people because they're very influential at that age. So, and that set us apart from any of the other schools that are working with trades. They don't work with students they have to be in high school. So, so we have our summer program, we have our after school program. I started saying we got to do more with our students that could not get into like a Dauphin County Tech school. Either their grades didn't work or they just didn't have enough room for them. So where are those students going to go if they can't get into DC Tech? That's when we start opening up our opportunities to reaching out to the high schools and finding out if there's a place for Evolve. And that latched on. We started with Stilton High Spire was our first school district. Then we went on to CCA, which is the Commonwealth Charter Academy. Those students are primarily homeschooled. They come to us for their trades and then they go back home for their academics. Same with Stilton High Spire. They come to us for their trades, just like a DC Tech, and they go back to their home school for their academics. And now we have Harrisburg High as also we are servicing that district.
What particular program? So let's say I'm a student, or I have a student, I know of a student who wants to get, or is curious about trades. What type of trades or skill sets can they get?
Carpentry, plumbing, and electrical. And I'm so glad that word curious, because that's the reason why we start early, because a lot of times it's the student that's curious about something that they don't otherwise get opportunity. So we want to engage them in that curiosity. We want to feed that curiosity and see where it can lead to. So yeah, so we start at 12. We work with young women and young men because we want to diversify the field of trades. Too often, a lot of our students are black and brown. People do not get into the trades. It's hard to get into unions. And so this is a leg up for them to have the skill set. There's no reason why they can be denied if they have the skill set.
And so let's back up because we want to talk a little bit more about the career exploration piece. So let's say I'm a student who doesn't quite know what I want to do. And a lot of times when I'm talking to students and families, you'll hear that, well, I'm not going to go to college for X, Y, and Z, or I'm not going to go to a trade school for this particular reason. And me personally, I don't really like to focus so much on what school you're choosing. Right. I always say, well, what is it you want to do?
Absolutely.
Where's your interest taking you? And then you just need to get the training that you need and the skill set that you need to go into that particular occupation or career field. So for that student that you run into who's just curious about some career exploration and they're not quite sure, what path they want to take, what advice would you have for them?
Well, one of the things we offer is the exploratory for them to decide. We offer all three trades. So when our summer program, we give them a little bit of carpentry, a little bit of plumbing, a little bit of electrical. During that process, they kind of navigate to one or two. So when they do that, now we're exposing them to the opportunity to do more. So that conversation that I have with them is, do you really want to be in the trades, first of all? What path do you see is best for you? And determining that, then we move them to the next stage. So oftentimes students will say, well, I really don't know what I want to do. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to expose you to all three, and then you can decide there which one you like the most. From there, we partner them up with mentors to kind of keep them engaged. But this is an opportunity for them to see something that they never otherwise would have seen. Because a lot of students are not familiar with the trades. They don't even, all they know is, when you think about trades, they'll think about toilets. And that's not all encompasses of the trades. So we try to give them access to more opportunity to say, well, this is a field that may work for you. How good are you in this area? and then expose them to it. And you'd be surprised how many students like, wow, I didn't know this, and I really like it. We have students that have come back have done carpentry and then came back for electrical because they like both. So we give them that opportunity to be exposed to all three so that they can make a decision. That way, if they choose one or two or maybe all three, they've had access to it and they now have the skill set.
Okay. And then for our listeners who aren't quite sure, well, what is a trade school? How does that differ from your traditional college or university or something like that? I'll let you explain it. In my layman's terms, it's more of a specialized school that's going to focus on a specific skill set or training. So as opposed to a four-year school, you may get your gen ed courses, you're going to get a broader aspect. This is going to hone in on that specific career field, specific trade, specific job, so that you can pretty much jump right into your career a lot quicker.
Absolutely.
Would you explain it any differently, or?
No, that's essentially what it is, with the exception, we do add in those soft skills that they otherwise may not get into a traditional school.
Okay.
So we focus on the trade, but we also give them those soft skills. I'm an advocate of entrepreneurship, and I think we need to encourage our young people to think about that more so now because of the climate that we're in. We need to introduce them to, okay, what kind of gifts that you have and talents that you can turn into something that's be profitable, but you can be you enjoy it, and that's the thing, that's the key. So trades we focus on the the trade itself, teaching them. So there's not a lot of the traditional math that they get that would go for a traditional school. A lot of it is fractions, so they learn how to measure, and all that stuff is stuff that they can do at home. How they use the skills they take at trade school, and then they apply some of those skills at home, because we do it in our everyday living with cooking and all those times. So they're measuring. So to answer your question, it is focused on a specific trade, but we also give them holistic approach to life lessons and also entrepreneurship. How do you sustain yourself? Financial literacy, because in the trades we know that there's seasons on, seasons off. So if you have a bad season, how are you going to manage that rest of the year? So we teach them how to do that. Otherwise, they won't get those lessons in a traditional school setting.
So let me ask you, so for that student, for the adult or anyone, what 2 or 3 skill sets do you think it's important for someone in the trades or just anyone who's in the workforce to have when they're starting
Work ethics. I think work ethics is key. Communication, being able to effectively communicate. Some of our students, with the technology the way it is, they're here. They're not even here. So they lack those skills. They don't know how to communicate their emotions. So having them deal with that. So we talk about that. What are some things that will help you? What do you think will help you get this position? It's how you articulate. It's how you show up. Those work ethics are so important. So we talk about those things in our trade setting. I think those are key. And
how early do you start? Because I know you said you have like your after school programs and summer programs that start as early as 10. So at what point do you start incorporating the soft skills?
Immediately.
Okay.
Immediately, because if you show up there, and then my question to my students, I know your parents brought you here, but what is your responsibility for making sure that your parents get you here? Because I want them to have a role in getting there on time. So, and they have to articulate that. I have to be here at a certain time, Mom. So the expectations, and we want to make sure that we hold them accountable as well. So day one.
Starts out.
Yeah.
I like that. The other part, you all, I think I read somewhere on there's an apprenticeship piece too that you really promote. For those who don't know, what is an apprenticeship?
Oh, well, Evolve Youth Trades Academy is a certified pre-apprenticeship program. So we are licensed by the state of Pennsylvania through L&I, Labor and Industry. So the students that come through Evolve, they get certified as pre-apprentice. What that does for them is allow them access to Thaddeus Stevens. Some of the credits that they earn through Evolve will transfer to Thaddeus Stevens. Some of the credits that they earn through Evolve could also help them through their testing process for a union job. or a non-union job. So we have partners. So when we certify our students, we make sure that they are skilled to be able to get into the workforce development. That is our goal. Okay. Is those skills are transferable to the next level. I hope I answered your question because I went off.
I kind of think so. So I'm going to break it out just to make sure that I'm understanding. So you're a pre-apprenticeship. So pre-apprenticeship
so you
means
you're
giving you the skill sets that you need and the certifications that you need to move to the next level.
To the next level.
Whether that's going to be the actual trade school, like a Thaddeus Stevens, or for someone who wants to go into a full apprenticeship program, meaning the paid opportunity where they're getting the on the job training.
Plus
with someone who's skilled. So they're going to get some classroom training from someone who's supervising them who's already in that particular field.
Yes, so it's a dual. It's what we call earn and learn. So they are still earning an income because they're out in the field learning, but they also go into the classroom for so many weeks, and they're still learning the skill, that's a process of about 4 years. So once every year, the students, it differentiates depending on what trade they are. Some paid higher than others. So the students will get a salary and then go out into the field and work, and then every so often they'll get raises. So to have a student that is 18 and to not be in debt, which is what we really promote, you're not going to be in debt, or you have to pay very little back because you have to take care of your books. But the key is to learn that skill and then go out to the workforce. And by the time you turn 20, 25, you have a certificate in a skilled trade that you can go out and start your own business, or you can choose to go work for someone. But it's your skill and nobody can take it away from you. So yes, that apprenticeship allows them to earn and learn at the same time.
I like
and
this.
Debt.
So you all at Evolve can pretty much be an exploration piece for that person, whether it's an after-school program or a summer program. You're also going to give them, when we're talking high school students, the hands-on experience that they need, come out with a certification, and then from there they choose their path.
Absolutely.
Do I want to go into the workforce? Do I want to go a little bit further? So for that person who's trying to figure it out, how do they, or what do they need to do to connect with you? In order to get involved.
To get involved.
Right.
So they have to be either attached to a school district that we are servicing currently, or they can come through our summer program or after school program. And we are getting ready to launch, and we do have a Women in Trades program that we focus on just women in general. So that's another avenue as well. But we do often have students that have that maybe have aged out of our program, because we do stop at 18 unless they are still in school and maybe 19. But they decide to take our program for a summer program session, and we're working on developing a curriculum for adult learners, because we know that 18 to 24 or 24 to 35 is really an age gap where students are maybe don't know.
Still figuring it out.
Still trying to figure it out. And so we want to create a pathway for them and help them try to figure it out. So we are working on a curriculum that will work with those students as well, or those young adults, to say that.
Yeah, you mentioned the Women in Trades. So tell me about the Women in Trades program that you have going on.
So the Women in Trades is for, a lot of times there's some women that want to change their career path. We've had women that come to us that's 30 and like, you know what, I want to do something different. And they go through a full course with us. That's at least 5 to 6 months. We have women that are first-time homeowners that don't have a partner but don't know how to fix certain things. So they need to learn, or how do I wire that outlet, or how do I fix that leak? What am I doing with that leak? What's going on? How do I patch a hole? My son punched a hole in the wall. How do I patch that back up? How do I lay tile? So those women, we have what we call 3 days and 3 trades. So the women will learn 3 trades in 3 days. We give them all 3 of those trades, and we specific to their needs. What do you want to learn in these 3 days? Versus giving them something, we just say, what do you would like to learn? And so they come to us in that way, or they'll say, well, I want to do a full curriculum. I want to learn. We have a young lady that just graduated last year. She's now with plumbers and pipe fitters. She's 30 years old. She's in a union now. So she totally changed her career.
I have a question. You may not know this, but do you know what percentage of women are in
Very low percentage. I don't know the numbers today, but I don't want to quote something, but I can tell you that it's very low.
Very low.
Very low.
Okay.
Very low, yeah.
And that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So I do like that as an opportunity. And is there a minimum age for a woman who wants to go into this particular field?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. Yeah.
I like, and then the other thing, so for a school, let's say there's a school who's listening and they want the opportunity to offer this to their particular district. Maybe it's not in their budget this year, but maybe for the next year. How do they reach you?
Well, our website is www.evolvetrades.org. Also, you can reach me at 717-608-2315. And I am on Facebook through Evolve Trades. So those are our handles that you can reach out to us.
Okay. I wanted to make sure I got that part done just so that I didn't forget. So another thing, what are some of the misconceptions that you hear when you're talking to students when they're talking about the trades? Because you hear a lot of things and this, like that, you shouldn't do that, or what are some of the things you hear?
Well, they say it's a dirty job, and well, there's some truth to that, depending on what field you go into. You will get a little dirty, so those are the expectations. But to not make a lot of money, that is a misconception. Students can really make a career out of the trades. And the biggest piece for me too is to not be in debt and to give back to your community. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten phone calls for women or men to say, you know what, I need something done in my house. Can your students help me? That's an opportunity to give back to your community. We have elderly people that need work done on their homes. I just think there's such a richness to it. And the fact that baby boomers have aged out. There's a high demand. I mean, you can really make a great living in the trades, and it's creativity. When we think about how to use your skills to be creative and to make something that you can go back and look and say, wow, I did that. I built that. That's what our students say after they're doing something in our school, like, man, I was a part of that. Can I put my name in that? Prime example, Habitat for Humanity. Last year, our students helped do two units in Stilton. So now that's affordable housing. Somebody is living in some of the work that you did, that you helped build. Pride, confidence, So curiosity can turn into something that can be great for our young people.
And that was going to be one of the questions. What feedback do you get from the participants that have been involved in the academy, or even from their parents? And that's one that they can look back and feel proud. Anything else that you've heard after they've gone through the program, or that you've seen that says this is definitely a success story?
Oh my goodness. I have a young man that graduated from our program, and he came to me in the summer 2 years ago. He was over the age, he was 19, and I said, are you okay? Because these are all younger people. There's no one as close to your age, maybe 16. And he said, I just want to learn. So he went through the program, graduated. Now he has an apprenticeship with IEC, Independent Electrical Contractors. He now has his own work van. He's come back to Evolve and volunteered his services. He has spoke to on platforms for Evolve, like CCA. So that's one of those. That's a testament.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Now let's talk a little bit more about you, because you said you did not come from that background. So when you decided to dive into it and kind of roll your sleeves up, what was the first trade or skill set that you took on?
I took on carpentry.
Carpentry?
Yeah. I love working. I didn't know it. That's why students don't know what they don't know. You don't know if you're not exposed to it. That's why we do it early, because if they get exposed early, that's how they change lives. But I didn't know I liked it. I was like, I'm that type of girl. I'm not getting dirty. I'm not doing that. But once I got into it and I saw what it did and how the results, you start with something and you see the results. So carpentry was my first, because I like working with wood now. Drywall, I didn't know it. It's one of the messiest things in carpentry, drywall, but I love that. And then just seeing now how I can wire an outlet. Yeah.
Impressive. How long did it take you to gain all of the skill sets that you needed?
Oh, Tiffany, I had to learn quickly.
Okay.
Because I had jumped into this thing unexpectedly. I didn't know it was going to take off like it did. And so I had to, while the students was learning, I was learning at the same time. And I would say that first summer program turned into the next summer program, and we just expanded out from 4 weeks to 6 weeks. So as we continued, I think this last 3 years is how it evolved into now reaching out to more schools. But I can do a lot now, more than what I thought I could do. So I always tell the ladies, don't be afraid. If you never touched a drill before, here's an opportunity to learn something new.
I like that. Yeah. Anything else about Evolve Youth Trades Academy, or anything else regarding the trades that you think we should highlight that we've not yet?
I think that we need to speak more in the schools. I think it should be more of a conversation held by the administrations, the counselors, and even the parents. If we can get parents more involved with Evolve, or even just the trades in general, and understanding that the pathway to success is not always a 4-year college degree, but there's so many other ways to get to your destination than the route that you think that's more successful. Mm-hmm. I think that is the key. And sharing that information on a regular basis, putting it in front of our students, and not being afraid. A lot of times they say, well, I think they're too young. No, they're not. Believe me, they know more than what you think they know. So just exposing them to it and see how much they gravitate to that is important to me.
I agree with that, and I'll also add, just through with one of our roles as access partners, we talk about access to affordable education, and we talk about financial aid, and you're talking about career exploration, and a lot of times we use the term college. We've kind of pivoted, and I've tried to change it to just post-secondary. Absolutely. Because it's all-encompassing. It's not just your 4-year school or 2-year school. It's those trade schools that are in there, those business schools that are in there. It's that particular school, and sometimes I think we miss students and families when we say college.
Absolutely.
But we mean post-secondary, and sometimes they'll say, well, I'm not going to go to college. I'm not going to fill out the financial aid paperwork. I'm not going to fill out those scholarships because I'm not going to college. Well, what's your plan? Well, I'm going to go to a trade school. Well, that's college.
Absolutely.
And so it's helping them to understand the narrative and understand the language early on. I think it's also, like you said, is giving them the exposure and giving it to them early so that they can do. It's pretty hard for someone to say, at 17 or 16, this is what I plan to do for the rest of my life. Well, you don't have to decide for the rest of your life. What's the immediate plan? What do you want to do? Let's explore some things and don't limit it. I know like in my age bracket with my parents, it's there was the push to go on and get your degree. They didn't get their degrees, but they wanted those opportunities for their kids, and I don't want you to have to physically work as hard. And that's kind of the conversation. We don't want you to have to physically work as hard, but what if that's my passion?
Absolutely.
What if my passion is in working with the hands? So I think it was well-intentioned. And again, those baby boomers are now retiring out, so those who were doing that hard work, you know what, there's no one there. And I'm one of the first to say, don't cut short those trades. They pay well, because once you get to be an adult and you ever have to call an electrician, those first 15 minutes are pretty pricey. Right?
And you will always need a tradesman, no matter what. We need lights.
Right.
We need running water.
Right.
All those are important. And I think another thing is what we do as well to help to your point in terms of there is money, not just for students going to a 4-year college, but for trades. So we do give scholarships for students that are going to continue their education into the trades or even the education.
Because we love talking about scholarships. So tell for that person who wants some information about the scholarships, tell us about your scholarship opportunities.
So, and we give 2 scholarships every year. We do give it for academics as well as trades, because we don't want to a student that's there and say, I still want to go to. Okay, we'll if you fill out the application, we accept that as well. So you just got to make sure that you get a letter of that you have been approved to attend a certain school. So our process is you go onto our website, fill out the application. 2 ways to do it. You can either do an essay or do a video, because we know students. So give us a video. It has to be, I think 5 to 7 minute video, and it's specific to why are you choosing this field, or why are you going off to school, or why do you want to do this, so that they can be more personable. We want to make sure that is. And we're giving out scholarship money for $500 for traditional school, or $500 for trade school.
Nice. Website once again?
www.evolvetrades.org.
All right. So, Trish, it has been a pleasure having you here. I love the conversation. I love what you are doing in the schools, with the students, with the women in the trades. I love how you started out in one field, and you kind of like flipped it, rolled your sleeves up, and you made a success out of it. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here. Thank you for doing what you are doing. If it ever, any time comes, you want to come back to the Higher Education Access Corner, I am happy to have you.
Thank you, and thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it, Tiffany.
Absolutely. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you soon.